In this lesson, we are continuing from chapter 4, where we looked at the design process and the process of, delivering your good or service to your customer. In this chapter, we're taking it a little bit further and we're looking at the aspect of innovation. Okay, so when you're designing your product or your service, how do you bring in innovation, new ideas, and how do you do things a little bit differently than your competitors? So that's what we're looking at in this relatively short chapter. So in the last lesson, we did chapter 4. We learned about process design, the different types of process design, batch process, job process, professional services, etc. And here in this chapter, we're looking at the innovation aspect. So how do you bring in new ideas and innovate in your processes of providing your good or your service? So how does innovation impact on design? Is innovation simply about doing something new? We'll discuss that in a little bit more depth when we have our live collaborate session. So I want you to think about that. What is design? So what do we mean by design? Conceiving the looks, arrangements, and workings of something. So innovation, if we were to use a definition, creates novel ideas. Design makes it work in practice. Okay, so for example, Steve Jobs created the novel idea of the Mac computer, I think in the late 70s. It then had to be designed so that it could work, and that it would, you know, deliver the service or the idea of having a computer with a certain amount of speed, a certain amount of capability, etc. Okay, so what we have here is the innovation S curve. So innovation is quite an important element for every firm, whether you produce services or whether you produce products. So here we have S-shaped improvement. It's introduces slowly and the performance picks up quite quickly. Here we have what we call incremental or progressive introduction of new ideas. So perhaps we can look at this as the iPhone. So over time, you've had many different iPhones that have come in, and each one, has a slight improvement on the previous one. The S-shaped improvement in performance, here we can think of things like what Elon Musk is busy with. Um, he's bringing in radical innovations like electric cars, and he's starting up SpaceX. So he's bringing big innovations. Not all firms can bring such big innovations to the fore. Most firms will make, progressive introduction of new ideas over time. So it won't be one big idea, it will be a small idea added to another idea, added to another idea over time. So what do we mean by concept generation? How will you as a business be able to progressively introduce new and innovative ideas? Well, one way is to get ideas from your customers. So you can ask your customers, what do you like about this product? What don't you like? What do you like about our service? What additional services would you like to see us offer? And listen to what customers say. This is often why a lot of businesses, after you've visited, for example, Woolworths, they'll send you a survey. What did you like about the store? What worked? What didn't? You can also look at your competitors. What are they doing? Anything that they have introduced that seems to be working well. You can get ideas from your staff. So I put in a little example here. I'm sure many of you have heard of the Please Call Me service, and that was created by a staff member who worked at Vodacom at the time. That staff member is still trying to sue Vodacom for stealing his idea, and is trying to get them to pay him the due that, what is due to him for creating that idea. But as a staff member, he generated the concept of the Please Call Me, and it has now been very, very successful, replicated across other service providers, and now the Please Call Me's even contain adverts. So it's a huge generator of revenue, and this staff member is trying to get his dues for it. So that I don't know if that court case has been resolved or ongoing. We can discuss in class. And then more concepts can also be generated from research and development. Right, so design goes through certain stages where you conceive an idea or a concept, you screen to see if it will work, create a preliminary design. That's probably what Steve Jobs did with the first MacBook. Evaluation, what is working, what's not working, what do we need to improve on, and then make a prototype and your final design before you go into mass production. Okay, so I included an article over here of CGI, computer generated images. So that's an innovation in movies. And it's been in animation, animated movies, as well as sci-fi movies. So I've included a link here. Innovation in the movie sector. One example is CGI. Okay, so what have we done in this chapter? We've looked at what is innovation, how can innovation happen, where can you get ideas from, and why innovation in products and services is important. Well, essentially, if you want to stay in business, you want to remain competitive, it's not possible for you to just offer the same thing over and over again, whether it's a good or a service. You will have to have some sort of innovation as part of your process.